Hey there everyone, welcome back to another Game Vault video. As always, I'm Captain Beefy with the Game Vault, and we're going to talk about DEI a little bit tonight, and this new game called No Rest for the Wicked. So let's cue up the music, and we'll get right to it. Alright, first and foremost, No Rest for the Wicked is in early access right now. It has been as of April 18th. You can wishlist it on Steam, PS5, and Xbox Series X and S, although personally, I wouldn't recommend it. Why? Well, it seems like these guys support DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Yeah, that's it. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. The destroyer of all video games. Well, not all of them, but the destroyer of quite a few video games there. I like to refer to DEI as didn't earn it. But yeah, this is another ARPG type game and all that. Quite frankly, I looked at the trailer, and I'll leave links to all these different articles and whatnot that we go over today in the description below. But it really didn't appeal to me. The art style and all that right off the bat, and yeah, and another ARPG, whatever, it's all good. If it's something you want to try it out, but personally, I wouldn't recommend it. But let's get to the meat of the story, and that story takes place on thatparkplace.com, of course. No Rest for the Wicked game designer Alexander Brazzi attempts to justify DEI hiring practices. Let's take a look at these guys. They are Alexander Brazzi, a game designer for No Rest for the Wicked, and the owner of Atomic Consulting, attempted to justify DEI hiring practices by lying about them. Let's see the company he owns right here. Well, there's Brazzi. Wow, all dudes with a distinct color of skin. Not much diversity going on here. Not much equity or inclusivity, but hey, whatever. You don't need to really practice what you preach, do you? Now, these guys, I don't know what this company does. They say they're consulting. Atomic Consulting is a video game design firm that brings high-level design experience and direction to new studios through short-term training, design review, and long-term support services. We empower studios to create engaging gaming experiences through our comprehensive game design strategies. Meet the team. Talks about the team here, 20 years experience, average between them all. It's specifically structured for first-time game developers, ensuring high-quality guidance and solutions. I don't think these guys are like Sweet Baby Inc. or anything like that. I'm not even going to go that route. They don't seem to be that way. These guys seem to be more technical and all that. But again, who knows? But what they support, well, that's a different story. And even though they may not, be a DEI type company like Black Gamer Girls or Sweet Baby Inc., they sound pretty lame as well. Now, why isn't this stuff being done in-house for gaming companies? That's what I want to know. Why aren't developers doing this stuff in-house? How much are these developers outsourcing to little companies like this? That's what I want to know. If you throw money to these guys, and then you're throwing money to a DEI company as well, and who knows what other companies you're throwing money at to help you develop your game, it's no wonder costs of games are ballooning and budgets are going up. And it's getting harder and harder to make something profitable. No wonder at all. Maybe it's time to rethink how all this is structured. But let's go back to the article here. As reported by Packer Girl, Brazzi commented on a post from War Dog Studios CEO Jade Law stating, "Let's have an honest conversation about DEI hiring, not to be confused with diverse content. People don't seem to really understand these policies, so let's discuss." She then defined what she means by DEI, albeit her definition is not how major corporations such as the Walt Disney Company and Amazon define it. Nevertheless, she defines it, writing, "DEI policies are aimed to promote fairness and encouraging the hiring and advancement of underrepresented groups as a means of tackling bias and prejudice." Okay, there's the definition. DEI policies are aimed to promote fairness and encourage the hiring and advancement. So DEI policies push to hire non-white males, if you want to break it down into different terms. Okay, then we move on. They typically do not mandate hiring quotas or specify that individuals must be hired on the basis of their race or gender. Some companies might set voluntary goals to hire underrepresented groups as a means to address historical discrimination. So that statement is stating they typically do not mandate hiring quotas or specify that individuals must be hired. So which one is it? Because you're saying two things at once here. DEI policies are aimed to promote fairness and encourage the hiring and advancement of underrepresented groups, but they do not mandate hiring quotas or specify that individuals must be hired on the basis of their race or gender. This makes zero sense. She's saying two different things, very contradictory in two different sentences, one back to back. These aren't sound bites taken out of two totally separate conversations on separate dates about separate subjects. This is they don't even know what they're talking about. It's no wonder nobody else understands them. They don't know what they're talking about. They're freaking idiots. So as you can, and here we go. As you can see, she contradicts herself, noting there are no quotas, and then admits there are indeed quotas. So anyway, this genius continues. Law. Diversity can mean a lot of things. It's not just race or gender, but class, background, experience, and neurodivergence. I've always said that I personally place a large value in neurodivergence and diversity of thought. After claiming it's not about race or sex, she would then confirm that that's exactly what it is. I don't agree with hiring anyone other than the perfect person for a job, regardless of gender or race. But guess what? Turns out that often means hiring a woman or a person of color these days. If you're on art Twitter, you know it's highly competitive, and the number one thing people say is portfolio is all that matters. If that's not meritocracy, I don't know what is. Okay, so diversity can mean a lot of things. So true diversity is a diversity of thought. Okay, it doesn't matter if 10 people in the room together all share common physical traits, right? Physical traits are nothing. Okay, these are things we cannot control. We cannot control if we are white or black. We cannot control if we are male or female. These things are ingrained in our DNA. They're immutable and unchangeable. You cannot change your gender. I don't care how much you want to argue that fact. You cannot change it, okay? You can't. So it's diversity of thought that matters, because you can have 10 people in a room and all 10 of these people have different thoughts and ideas and ways of looking at things. That's where the importance is. It doesn't matter if they're all black. It doesn't matter if they're all white. It doesn't matter if they're all men, women, whatever. What matters is that diversity of thought. You know, and that's not what these people look at. They only look at the surface level. They look at the superficial things. Color of skin. That means absolutely nothing. It's absolutely ridiculous. And Martin Luther King Jr. would be rolling over in his grave if he saw this kind of stuff going on these days. The very man who said he did not want to see people judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I mean, come on, man. This is absolutely the opposite. But law attempted to justify why these racial and gender quotas are now mainstream. Well, one of the big reasons is how accessible the industry is now. You can literally find all the resources you need to learn art and even programming online for free. The industry is wonderful for social mobility. I personally think that's a great thing, as breaking through class barriers is something I'd love to see more working class people achieve. But that doesn't explain why DEI hiring has racial and gender quotas. Quotas? I mean, come on. I'd love to see what would happen if these tech companies hired people without seeing who they are, without knowing their names, without knowing their backgrounds, the color of their skin, their gender, or anything like that. If everything was done in a way that was completely anonymous, without physically seeing anything about these people. I would love to see how that panned out. You know, that would be an interesting experiment to build a company. Let's say you want to make a new video game development company, right? And you put out stuff and say, okay, I'm hiring. There's not going to be any names attached to these applications and resumes. There's not going to be any pictures. There's not going to be any information regarding their sex, their gender, their nationality, their anything other than the experience of what they've done and stuff like that. And it'd be fascinating to see what kind of team they got. Now, if you did that and you came up with this crazy, diverse, all these different people in there, that would be awesome, because that would mean everybody was there based off of what they've done. a meritocracy, a true meritocracy, based on the merit of what they have done. That would be fantastic. But if it was all a certain type of people, then it would also be fantastic, because it would still be based off their merit, and it would just state that, hey, it doesn't, so you don't have this certain person here. Oh, well, we still have the best people for the job, right? And just because a certain type of person gets there, say it's a white male, maybe it's because more white men applied for the job than any other demographic. And so naturally, if more of a certain demographic attempts something, more of that demographic will succeed at it, right? If you have a race and there's 100 people can sign up for the race, and 90 of the people that sign up are white dudes, then most of the people that win that race are going to be white dudes. If the other 10 are a variety of women, different colors and whatever and all that, now I'm not saying they'll be the first guy, and sorry, white dudes, we probably wouldn't come first place in a race, but we would definitely, there'd be a lot of white dudes in that race. That's just the way it goes. So it is what it is. But yeah, so that's Jade Law for you there. But Brazzy's repost, let's see. So yeah, she's got all that crap up there. DEI policies are aimed to promote fairness and yada yada yada. Paloma McLean, great post. It actually says a lot about people when they call someone a diversity hire and automatically assume their merit is inferior. Well, Paloma, when you state that you are hiring people based off of their race and their gender, naturally we're going to assume that when somebody is female or somebody is of a different race, that they're a diversity hire, because you are promoting that. Okay? You're promoting that. So it doesn't say a lot about people when they call someone a diversity hire. It says a lot about the hiring practice of the company when people look at the people working there and go, oh, they must be a diversity hire, especially if they're not that good. I mean, let's face it, when you hire people based off of a skin color or a gender and not based off of their abilities and their accomplishments, then you're not going to get the best of the batch. But Alexander Brazzi here, let's see what he says. I'm sure he has some smart words for us. Yeah, it would help if people understood effective DEI is about helping people who historically didn't have the network to get eyes onto their work have a chance due to their equal skill. This whole merit smearing is so banal, presumptuous, and out of touch with reality. All right, so what were you saying there, Alex? Effective DEI is about helping people who historically... So effective DEI is about propping certain people up and giving them a better chance at something, not based off of their merit, but based off of their inequalities, their gender or their color. That's what he's saying in there. But then he goes on to say the whole merit smearing is so banal, presumptuous, and out of touch with reality, when that's merit smearing. There's no merit smearing when someone is not hired based on their merit, dude. I don't know what these people think. So it's absolutely crazy. Now, that Park Place included ABC Entertainment's inclusion standards here. And I will leave a link to this so you can look through these on your own. But this is a list of inclusion standards for shows for ABC Entertainment, right? Clearly states that one of the factors is characters and actors must be 50% or more from underrepresented groups. This also applies to producers, writing staff, directors, production department heads, and more. Now, I'm going to say something that's going to make a lot of people angry here. But this explains why, and if it's not only ABC that's doing this, but I'm pretty sure this is kind of like all throughout the industry in one way or another. This explains a lot why there is so much garbage entertainment out there right now. Because we are hiring, half of the people being hired are from underrepresented groups, and they're being hired because they're underrepresented, not because they are the best for the job. And you want to call that merit shaming or whatever that schmuck Alex said? I don't give a shit, to be honest with you, because the truth is right there, right? 50% or more from underrepresented groups. Imagine if other places did that. Imagine if the fire department says, oh, we got to have 50% of our people from underrepresented groups. Imagine if our military said that, right? We got to have 50% of the military from underrepresented groups. Okay? it, it just doesn't work. You know, in entertainment it might work, but it really becomes tiresome now. I've gotten to a point. I'm a movie fan. I've been a movie fan for years. If you ever watch my live streams, I've got 1,000 movies sitting behind me on the shelves. I love movies. I have loved them my whole life, and I've been collecting DVDs, Blu-rays, and now HD Blu-rays for decades, right? And I honestly barely buy anymore because movies have become such garbage, such pandering garbage. There's no more original ideas out there, nothing. And gaming, I'm afraid, is going in that same direction. I talked yesterday about is the gaming industry going to crash? I really have a feeling it's going to, especially if stuff like this continues to permeate it and poison it, because it's like a cancer inside the gaming community, you know. So yeah. That Park Place asks, what do you make of Brazzie's attempt to justify DEA hiring practices that are fundamentally rooted in race and sex-based quotas? I think they're bullshit, you know, but I always thought that was that way. I understand there was a time and place for quote-unquote affirmative action back in the day, but that time is long past. You know, there are no laws in this country that would protect a company from not hiring somebody based off of their race, gender, or anything else, right? They're black, they're female, whatever. But now they're pushing that you don't hire white men. You do not create a right by making another wrong. It just doesn't work that way. You know, a lot of these idiots say you can't be racist against white people, you can't be sexist against men, whatever. Sorry, you can. You know, and if you keep pushing against that group of people, well, that group of people is going to push back. And that's what I'm doing. And that's what I recommend all of you do. So if you want to push back against all this horse shit, please leave a like on the video down below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and ring that bell for notifications. I'll see you guys next time. Until then, peace.